Do you believe that Beatlism is a sort of moral guide for society, or that it would help create a set standard of ethics for people?
No, because I don't really go into morality and ethics at all. Those are social concepts right now. What Beatlism talks about, the book and the philosophy itself, really the crux of it is conscionable atonement and attunement, where you can become very aware of your conscience, which is spiritual, and, as I believe, universal. See, morality can change. That's a mobile concept and such. The idea of conscionable thought, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, and then acting accordingly, having the discipline to act in a conscionable way and develop that connection. It's just like getting a really good clear reception off of an antenna. You need to get your antenna up there high and try to hear. Sometimes the voice of conscience is very faint, and then what I discuss is that the ethics and the morality are just a completely different discussion. He will get you.
One question that I had throughout reading the book, was I became very interested in where you had come from personally, or what events had led you to become who you are and write this book, which is from a very different perspective than a lot of people are at right now in the world. So one question I have for you is, what book has influenced you the most?
In Search of the Miraculous, by P.D. Ouspensky, who was a student of George Gurdjieff.
Who's George Gurdjieff?
Gurdjieff? Well, he's a man that has been referred to as the rascal sage. He taught in Europe and also in the United States to a select group of students just prior to and during and then after World War I, so the beginning part of the 20th century. His book, or his teachings, elucidated through Ouspensky's book, just opened up my eyes and transformed me in the way I viewed myself and life. It opened my eyes to potential, showed me the vastness and the magical journey that was before me.
You talk about the magical mystery too, in your book, yes.
Right.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, although Gurdjieff took a bit more of an analytical approach. This was the first real book that I read, and then of course another great author that also transformed me and helped me grow tremendously. My favorite author of all time is Khalil Gibran, and his work has just touched me. Where Gurdjieff reached me and Ouspensky reached me intellectually, Gibran, Jesus, probably those two primarily touched me emotionally.
Or spiritually.
But emotionally. It's an emotional reaction.
One thing that I have questions about is I'm very interested in how Beatlism can help guide society and help Beatlism be able to awaken people from the darkness that they're now in. But when people are awake, they're starting to realize what's going on in the world, which is very, very scary. One thing that
Can be, can't it?
One thing that I feel a lot of people are scared to talk about right now is the New World Order. And the fact that blind democracy has been leading America into this fascist dictatorship in a way, which has become worldwide. Do you have anything to say about the New World Order, or are you aware of what it is?
Yeah, I have come across quite a bit of information. Primarily through the internet, through people such as David Icke, Alex Jones, and such. And I believe that that there certainly is a nefarious few who really have, you know, most of the control of the money and resources and such, and they've had it sewn up for a long time. It's a, you know, there's a world order in that regard. It's we call it class structure, hierarchy, whatever. And but I don't believe it's a new world order. I think that what's new now is technology, and there's new ways that the old world order can implement the slave mentality and the mind controlling techniques which have, you know, been so successful for so long. I mean, they were using the same techniques thousands of years ago. I mean, that's how people were able to go fight crusades and everything they did. Every war, it's certainly nothing new. But the technology is new, so there's a new world order in that regard. And I think that what we have to do is really start working on ourselves individually, so we can become ourselves conscious enough and become radiant enough to be able to shine some light for others. And to just dwell on the problems isn't usually very effective at finding solutions. You need to be aware of problems. You need to look at facts. You need to understand what needs to be done, and then you need to say, fine, now what needs to be done. You know, I have talked to people that I think have overdosed on New World Order conspiracies. And you know, it doesn't matter to me if the manipulators of society are reptilians or mammalians or vegetabilians. What remains is, you know, most of us normal, average, working-day folks out here are we just want to have a life and have some free time with our families and enjoy what we're doing, and we're willing to work hard for it. We don't want to be controlled. We don't want to be living in a slave state. Economic slavery has just, you know, replaced, you know, physical chains. Matter of fact, it's worse in some ways. But that's what I believe about that, and I think that eventually David Icke comes to the same conclusion, which I have respect for him too. I like what he says, and I like who he is, who he seems to be. He comes across as being very genuine, and he ends up by really arriving at that same conclusion that, you know, we need to understand who we are. We need to remember.